That's a banger-ranger. What up, chat? Happy Monday. A little later start to this one, about 30 minutes. Figured a little shorter slate here. We can get away with a little bit of a late start here. So appreciate you guys. You thought it was over? No. Trying to get this bang to kick in. I thought about brewing up some coffee, but I didn't have enough time. So want the bang to work. It's weird how it works, man. My bangs have way more caffeine than my coffee does, but the coffee, man, it just hits different. If I need to wake up, coffee is the go. I don't know, maybe because it's hot. I don't know. But what's up, chat? Happy Monday. What up, K Johnson? Here. What up, Jonathan Adams, Josh Jennings, Bob McIntyre, Dang Lazy Mofo, Sean V, Dan T, Erta Air, Gentry. Man, you guys are showing up and showing out on a Monday afternoon. We've got football tonight. I dropped a little showdown video for that. If you guys haven't peeped that out, it's a kind of a feels like it's gonna be one of the chalkier showdowns, right? We've been hit with a couple of unpredictable games, and I guess by definition this game could be unpredictable, and maybe the Lions come out and stun us, but looks like pricing's going to push a lot of Packer stacks into the mix. So, but there's $1 million to first place on tonight's slate, so have fun with that one. I'll definitely be trying to make a little scratch here. But yeah, we also got baseball tonight, and baseball is it's getting down to the nitty gritty. Just like 4 series, I think, for most teams left to the rest of the season, and we're starting to see teams clinch playoff berths left and right, and we're starting to see some teams slip away from contention. Starting to see some teams lose their identity. Starting to see some teams ace break down. And some teams' managers break down, and some teams' entire fan bases break down, and but not me, not me. What are you gonna do? What's up, Kickstart? You see my Ravens? Ravens did that thing last night, man. For a minute, I thought the Ravens were gonna get screwed out of that game. There was like a unnecessary. They called it an ineligible receiver downfield in the end zone, and it was such a ticky-tack call that I didn't feel like had a place there. And I was like, man, please don't let that be the reason that this game leans one way. But yeah, that was a very entertaining game. I feel like for the most part, points per dollar, some of these primetime games have been way more entertaining than our expectations. I think Chiefs and Ravens is obviously one that we always expect to be good, but I mean the the football team and Giants doing what they did was entertaining. Last Monday night we had the Raiders game that kind of stunned us. Like we're getting some bangers. So who knows, man? Maybe Jared Goff and the boys stun us tonight, but we're due for a down one, right? Yankees got hey. We don't need all that. Some mild flags this week, man. That taunting stuff is getting out of control. It's getting out of control. The train is here. Bob McIntyre asked if we could take a brief look at the couple of games before main slate lock. Is anybody else here playing that? I did not load those games into the spreadsheet, but it probably wouldn't take me too long to formulate a couple of opinions if we look at that slate. So I'll do my best to briefly look over. I don't have the specifics. I don't have the specifics. Wouldn't take that long to type them into a spreadsheet, but I don't have the CSVs uploaded for to process pricing. So let me see if I can get at least a look at the DraftKings tab for this contest. So we got Carlos Rodon, Vladimir Gutierrez, Eric Fetty, DJ Peters. It's not DJ Peters. DJ Peters is a hitter for the Rangers. Dylan Peters, Matt Manning, and Jesus Luzardo. This looks horrendous. If I were to play this, I definitely would be probably on a one-pitcher site. Well, obviously, I would pitch Carlos Rodon more than likely, even though I don't know how deep we should expect him to go. White Sox pitchers seem to not be going much past 5 or 6. Vladimir Gutierrez is in a tough park. Pittsburgh sucks. Eric Fetty has put together a couple strings of solid games, right? 8-7 strikeouts, 6-10. It's the Miami Marlins. Against the Marlins, last 2 starts, 27-32. So I imagine there'll be a lot of point chasing. So I would imagine the typical lineup approach for this slate is going to be Rodon, Fetty, and then we're probably stacking White Sox against Matt Manning and filling in the blanks, right? Not a bunch of maybe Cincinnati. So probably be Cincinnati and White Sox stack with these two if you can make it work. 40 with 4K per. So Dylan Peters being a lefty, right? Yeah, so you probably want Castellanos, maybe a Eugenio Suarez, guys like that. Wouldn't hate. Oh yeah, Jonathan India leading off. Castellanos. Suarez is on the fence, but I don't mind him. Kyle Farmer being a 2-hole catcher, 3,600. You'd probably do that. And then a couple of White Sox bats here against Matt Manning. We got 38 per. We probably want to punt catcher to the moon, or we just take Yasmani. We just take Yasmani. Then we want Robert for sure. 3K per. Moncada's in the mix. First base, we don't know Abreu. So just all right. So probably this. So I probably go 3-3. Then leaves me 23 per. I'm gonna pure punt these other positions. First base. Do we have anybody at 2K that's playing today? No. Do we have anyone in outfield that's playing today? We got Daz Cameron against Carlos Rodon. I don't mind pitching up to one guy. Oh, Delino DeShields, bare bones man. Yes, sir. Put him in the mix. 2,600. We don't have anybody at first base that's playing here. Is Moncada first base eligible? No. Anyway, I don't know. That's one of the ways I would get started here. Probably Rodon, Fetty, and try my best at mixing a White Sox Cincy stack. So that's my look, Bob. I didn't want to not look at it for you, but I was not prepared to break down that slate. So that's my quick, lazy approach to that one, right? This Thursday night, Panthers and the Texans. Ooh, yeah, that might get bad. I don't know. Yeah, it'll probably get bad. It might have been better than it probably should have been if Tyrod didn't get injured. Because I'll tell you what, through the first 2 games, while he was on the field, Tyrod was looking solid. And he had that team looking right. They would be annoying to predict because they Philip Lindsay out here getting touchdowns every week and Melvin Ingram and stuff like that. But yeah, maybe it would be a sleeper, right? I have a Vladdy Semien mini stack on DK. Hopefully they can get to the rookie. Was that game on the slate? I didn't even process that, but yeah, obviously I'd want that. I don't know. I hate to be too lazy with that analysis, but we are going to break down the main slate tonight, so hopefully you guys brought your pens and papers, and maybe some of you guys already brought some of that fire. We got 7 games on the main slate, brought to you by RunDFS.com. There is a coupon code floating around on the showdown video in the pinned comment. If you guys want to head over there, grab that coupon code. It'll get you 20% off any membership at RunDFS.com. And while you're over there, hit that thumbs up, man. I would sorely appreciate that. I can't click that. Okay, hopefully, let me close that. I don't want to leak some links there. All right, let me go back. I meant to click memberships, not VIP portal. But yeah, you get 20% off of any membership here. A lot of big winners, man. Over the weekend. Sometimes people in the community win, and I got nothing to do with it, right? We've seen ABP. Yeah, he won a football million maker, but a couple months back, I think in May, Was it May? He won the golf Millie Maker. I don't know golf. Over the weekend, my boy Shady banked first place on Saturday in a $20 soccer GPP for $20K, and then later that night he netted back $7K. So he had almost a $30,000 day on two sports I don't know nothing about, and I can't stress enough the value of the community of the Discord. It goes beyond the spreadsheets that I provide and the advice I provide, because those cats are in there grinding everything, MMA, golf, soccer, League of Legends, you know what I'm saying, like the esports. So yeah, shout out to Shady over the weekend for doing that. And then yeah, if you guys are looking to submerge yourself into a community of grinders at every sport, I definitely invite you guys to come check out the RunDFS.com VIP community. Yeah, you get the spreadsheets, the projections, my player polls, but man, oh man, do I think that RunDFS VIP Discord is extremely valuable. Before lock tonight, we'll be chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool. I'll put baseball to the top here for today, but we will be chopping up baseball as well as showdown lineups for the showdown slate. So good opportunity to get you guys in there, get introduced to the group, and then that pre-lock voice chat becomes a huge part of my process during NBA, man. So go check that out. Anything else we got to do? We got anything? What up, Mo Green? We got members in the chat. Appreciate you, Mo. It's the main slate. Yeah, we'll do main slate. What up, Lorenza? Yo, Lorenza, I saw those pictures, bro. Those were nice. Little beach wedding, little ocean scenery backdrop, man. It's got me thinking about a beach wedding, man. What a feel like a cost-effective or efficient wedding idea, right? And as long as you get lucky with the weather and not too much public, man, I think that's such a good idea. Weddings seem to be such a tank for money, and it's really not worth it, man. People telling me they spend 70, 80 grand on a wedding. Oh, one day, man, come on. I remember I had like a $500 prom suit. This guy wore that thing once. You know what you can do with $500 and enjoy it a little bit longer? I don't know. Kate Johnson, something don't feel right about this Toronto-Tampa Bay game. Tampa took out Zunino, Meadows, and wow, why does Ray go 6 innings? I think he might. John Lester starting, yeah. I think it was Woodford projected to start earlier, and now it looks like it's going to be John Lester. So, me and Lester, we don't get along, man. I'm a sucker for stacking against him, but let's get chopped up. Let's get chopped up. So let's go to the RunDFS.com MLB VIP spreadsheet, and we're going to go game by game here. If you guys have already done a little bit of research, you already got a couple notes, a couple guys on your radar, share it with the class, right? You don't have to just follow me. This is a group discussion, so be part of, be active. What up, Dave? Hey, Gunn, do you suggest in my tournament single... Do you suggest in my GPP tournament single MLB contest for $5 is your favorite stacks? Dave, man, not gonna lie, that looks like a robot wrote it. Hey, do you suggest in my GPP tournament for $5 is your favorite stack? Are you asking me who is my favorite stacks? I guess I would say let me revisit that after we've processed this slate. Without really looking at it, I would think the Braves would be my favorite stack. Maybe the Yankees rise up, but the Yankees got your boy scared. And then the Brewers, I might end up being a sucker for the Brewers here after the John Lester metrics start breaking stuff, right? Backyard barbecue for the wed. Hey, man, I once had an aunt who had she had plenty of weddings, right? So I guess after a while, you don't need to do too much. But she once had her wedding in her living room, and it got the job done, right? Got the job done. Anyway, let's talk some baseball here. We got the Rangers and the Yankees. Both these lineups just came out. Yankees are now $1.50 behind a wild card spot, right? 1.5 games out. Blue Jays and the Red Sox are ahead of them. It's not panic. It is panic season, but there is a 3-game set with the Yankees and Red Sox coming forward. So there is a chance that the Yankees could make up 3 games if they figure out how to win games, which I'm almost hitting that panic button. But lineups came out for this one. Rangers lineup: Isaiah Kinda for Leffer, batting leadoff. Andy, I took a pill in Ibanez. Adolis Garcia is batting third. DJ Peters batting cleanup. Nate Lowe batting fifth. Nick Solak, Jonah Heim, Charlie Culberson. Leody Taveras goes from projected leadoff to the 9-hole wraparound guy. And then we also got a Yankees lineup. Features DJ LeMahieu, Anthony Rizzo, Aaron Judge, and Carlo. Okay, Joey Gallo's fifth, Gleyber Torres sixth, Gary Gardner, Giovanni Urshela. So both lineups confirmed for this one. Yankees have an implied run total of 5.4. They're a minus 265 favorite on the money line. And I have some reservations about this one. One of the things in the Yankee lore community, it seems like the Yankees can't seem to get off on hitters the first time they see them. And that's something that we experienced over the weekend. We'll see if that holds true here. AJ Alexis, 6,300 on DraftKings, has an elevated xFIP to both sides of the plate. It's just 14 innings of sample size. He is showing some strikeout prowess with a 25.7% K rate to righties, almost a 22% to lefties. The fly ball rate elevated, extremely elevated to righties, 70%. Seems somewhat unsustainable. The hard contact pretty low, and the swing and strike rate over 11%, and the called strike rate almost at 15%. The barrel rate's not where you want it to be, and maybe Globe Life is helping him out a little bit. Yankee Stadium fly balls become problems. But I could definitely see these strikeout rates come to play against this Yankees team. Another thing that could come to play is this walk rate, 20% walk rate to righties so far. Yankees are top 5 in the league in walks taken, so a little bit of darned if you do, darned if you don't. I want to go look at Alexis' minor league stuff and see if the walk problem is something that's in his pedigree, or if this is just a rough transition to the majors. If they'll still give me him. I remember him being a big strikeout guy in the minors. 1.66 ERA in the minors this season, 65 innings, 76 strikeouts, a 102 whip. So that alone would probably suggest that he wasn't a walk guy with the whip being that low. But we'll see if it'll give us sample size splits from the minors. Wow, bro. Wow. Dude, I could do a barbecue wedding. I definitely could. Put a little big screen there. I'm a simple man. Against the righties, 30 strikeouts in 28 innings. And the walks, 9 walks. Yeah, I guess there was some walk problems. 12 walks in 21 innings against lefties. So, yeah, I guess he does bring some walk problems over with him from the minors. And a 0.52 ground out to arrow ratio in the minors. So, in a sense, his numbers so far aren't necessarily drastically different than his minor league stuff. Maybe that ground ball rate to lefties comes up if I'm reading that right. 2.0 ground out to air out ratio against lefties in 21 innings, and then 0.5 against righties. So, yeah, I think this is a wide range of outcomes in terms of what Alexi might bring to the table here. At 6,300, it'd probably make the back end of my player pool and mass entry. Yankees having a run total that they do have. They're obviously going to be one of the more sought-after stacks. Even after duds after duds after duds, people just love them. Some Yankee stacks at the house. And on a slate like this, I definitely think they could rise to top 4 in ownership. Mentioned the Blue Jays are on the slate as well, but I do think Tropicana and the Rays pitching staff might suppress some ownership in that game. And I think there's a real chance the Yankees could be a top 2, top 3 owned stack. I'm not necessarily saying this should be a top 2, top 3 based on their performance lately, but I think they could be owned as such. So, yeah, look out for that. Nestor Cortez on the bump for the Yankees. 4.39 xFIP to righties so far, 3.47 against lefties. A 27% K rate to righties, 28.8% K rate to lefties. The swing and strike rate, just 10%. We mention it every time Nestor Cortez grabs a spot on the bump here. He's not somebody that He's not a bad pitcher per se, but the advanced metrics will want you to believe that regression is coming. And one of the things that Cortez does differently than your average pitcher is he's just different. He does multiple different arm slots, pitch cadence, the tempo between pitches. He's kind of a gimmick pitcher, and he's a little bit deceptive. He's funky with it. So that, I think, buys him a few more strikeouts versus the average pitcher, and you've seen some big games out of him. He did get to 11 strikeouts against Baltimore. The next day, Jordan Montgomery got to 12. I do think a more reasonable expectation for him is a little bit closer to a strikeout per inning, but I do think we can get a strong amount of innings and pitches out of him. 98, 103 pitches his last 2 games. Just a real chance at 6 innings, a quality start on Fanduel, 8,500 on DraftKings, maybe 20-plus DKP is in the range of outcomes here. Big strikeout numbers for Garcia, Peters, Nate Lowe, and Tavares. The rest of this lineup, you got to fight for those strikeouts. A lot of sub 20% K rates, but I do think we don't have to run too much from their power. And Cortez, Cortez does have a little bit of a power problem, but not a massive one. At home this season, a 1-2-1 home run per 9. You're going to give up a homer or two in Yankee Stadium. It just happens. Could the Ranger stack be viable? I think they could. I still think this Yankees bullpen is suffering. No Jonathan Loaizaga. I heard today that Luis Severino is going to pitch in a rehab stint. So obviously we want him back as quick as possible. But it's tough. It is. We are down bad, right? Yesterday, Lucas Licky went 26 pitches, so I guess he and then the other guy they sent back down. So I guess it would be all but one available today. I would assume Licky's not available. So Wandy Peralta, Joely Rodriguez, or revenge spot. Michael King might be the de facto long man if they have to glue together some stuff. But you could see anybody in this game. So if it stays close, they probably go all in for a win. You probably see some Chad Green and Aroldis Chapman. So maybe Cortez goes 6, and then you bridge over to, unfortunately, Chapman. So it's hard to love the Rangers with a high level of confidence at a 3.2 run total. But I do think their power is a little sneakier than maybe we give them credit for, and I do think putting them in a more hitter-friendly park, I would be looking at guys like Adolis Garcia, and maybe a Jonah Heim, Charlie Culberson, guys like that that could maybe sneak into one. But for the most part, Cortez is in the pool. I'm more on Cortez than the Ranger stack, and I'll be there on the Yankee stack, but full disclosure, bias, blah, 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 blah. Let's move on to the next game. Orioles at the Phillies. John Means business taking on Ranger Suarez, a pair of southpaws, 2 above-average pitchers. John Means on the road this season, 25.4% K rate, a 195 average allowed, and a 1.5 home run per 9. The Orioles losing the designated hitter spot, so I do wonder how deep they would task John Means to go. However, it's not the Orioles are playing for much, so they could just be trying to eat innings and head to the hizzy. That's code for house. That's a new thing I'm saying. Bear with me. Ranger Suarez converted closer into a solid starter. Big price discrepancy on him between FanDuel and DraftKings. 9K on FanDuel, 6,500 on DraftKings. So I mentioned AJ Alexis with his strikeout propensity at 6,300 against a strikeout lineup like the Yankees. Maybe people just end up going to Suarez if they're looking for that type of play in the SP2 spot. I think Suarez seems like the safer bet to not get roasted. This really seems like a misprice. 6,500 just doesn't seem right. I don't understand why he's so low here. I do think Baltimore at full strength is better against lefties. But man, I don't know. We do have a confirmed Orioles lineup. Let me get that in and make sure I don't say nothing stupid here. Austin Hayes is leading off. Yikes. Ryan Mountcastle, Anthony Santander is batting third. Pedro Severino is batting cleanup. Ryan McKenna is batting fifth. Pat Valleca, Richie Martin, and Kelvin Gutierrez. So no Cedric Mullins, who is easily their best hitter. So that's a downgrade in that lineup. I know you take out that lefty matchup here, but this is interesting. I think Suarez will probably rise in ownership on DraftKings based on that price point. Unique. I guess that would be a unique leverage spot. The Orioles still have several near 200 plus ISO guys, 1 through 4, right about a cumulative 200 ISO against lefties. Hayes, Mountcastle, Santander, and Pedro Severino. They're all relatively cheap, but Suarez has been a big ground ball guy, both sides of the plate, 50% plus. Has big time strikeout stuff, a 0.36 home run per 9 in Citizens Bank Park. So yeah, I'm more leaning on Suarez than the Orioles here. The price is what I don't know. The price is just wrong. John Means 7,700. I don't feel like we need to get to John Means with a guy like Suarez or Cortez in the mix as well, and a lot of questionable length questions and stuff like that based on him bringing his bat. Last couple games for him, nothing stunning here. Not a lot of 20s, only 120 in his last 10 against Detroit. So I feel like he does have an average range of outcomes, but he does also have a power problem to righties. So Gene Segura, Andrew McCutchen has one of the higher ratings in the bomb detector at 4.23. Bryce Harper hits both sides of the plate. He's making a real push. I mean, I'm seeing a lot of narrative switching on Twitter about the National League NL MVP. English is hard. A lot of Tatis frustration. You've seen that clip with Machado, and Bryce Harper's been on fire. So I'm wondering if Bryce Harper knows that and if he's playing up to it. I don't know if he has some sort of incentive to do so. He's already got that fat contract, but he's been crushing it. JT Realmuto against lefties. I generally do like many of these Phillies against an okay lefty and a way below average bullpen. So I will have some Phillies exposure tonight. They got a 4.8 implied run total. I'm fine with that. The hope for me would be John Means doesn't last that long and you get into that bullpen. That's where the glory comes. But yeah, give me some Phillies bats here. Give me some Suarez. I would take some Hayes, Mountcastle, Santander, and Severino. I wouldn't really feel pressured to get anyone else in the bottom of this lineup. Does feel like a double switch is on the horizon. Maybe a Cedric Mullins gets double switched into the outfield once the lefty comes out and Means comes out. But they could also just be trying to get him a day off. He is absolutely killing it. Not related to the slate here, but if you guys haven't seen what Mullins is doing, I think he's got a shot at a 30-30, I believe, right? 30 homers, 30 plus stolen bases, one of the league leaders in hits, batting 300 plus. I mean, you don't expect that type of production and those type of numbers from a Orioles player. So shout out to him. A little bit of love. Let's get caught up on chat. Why do I keep... Why can't I quit you, MLB? It's fun, man. Nah, the last week and a half, I broke my little slump over the weekend, but it felt like a while since I had a big hit, right? You break even most nights, a little loss, little gain. Saturday morning was a good day for me, but yeah, no, I think we've seen a lot more what feels like variance, even though it's really not. But a lot of the can't miss aces have missed, and I've felt that on my end. So baseball gets like that. It's a very streaky sport in terms of, at least for me, in terms of success and failure. Some days I'll go weeks where I'm crushing it. Some days I'll get down. So I understand the struggle, but I love it. I embrace the variance. It's gonna be okay. Let's move on to the next game. Blue Jays at the Rays, going out to Tropicana. Tampa Bay, so they've run away with the American League East. I am kind of wondering, if I'm Tampa Bay, which AL East team do I want to see in the playoffs? And I'm advanced metrically, I feel like it's the Yankees, right? Blue Jays are getting red hot at the right time. Robbie Ray, I mentioned, Bryce Harper being I don't want to say dark horse, but, a guy that's really inserted himself into the MVP conversation. Well, Garrett Cole's had a couple of yuck performances, including over the weekend, getting routed by the Indians here. Robbie Ray's making a case. So With the Blue Jays offense being as hot as they are, and Robbie Ray being as good as he is, and that pitching staff in general giving you a shot to win. Alek Manoah, win. Hunyaru's healthy. That bullpen's getting together. Nate Pearson, Merriweather, guys like that. Like, I feel like the Blue Jays are the last team I want to see. They lost 3 games this month so far. That's nuts. So if I'm the Rays, I think I want to beat the Blue Jays here. I think I want to help the Red Sox and the Yankees out and not see the Blue Jays in the postseason here. So we'll see if they bring it. The Blue Jays lineup did come out. It is confirmed. Springer, Semien, Vladdy Jr., Bo Bichette, Teoscar Hernandez. We have Alejandro Kirk. There we go. Alejandro Kirk, Lourdes Gurriel Jr., Randall Grichuk, and Jake Lamb. And that's not to say that they would be throwing some games here for the Yankees, but, get rid of Robbie Ray. Because Robbie Ray just came out here and diced them up. The Rays, before adding Nelson Cruz and Wander Franco, were not really a great team against lefties overall on the season. About a 102 WRC plus. Without Franco, they dip. They do have Cruz today. He can still strike out, but they at least do have him in the mix today. And they still got some of their lefty masters, Jordan Luplow, Randy Arozarena, guys like that. But however, Robbie Ray in his last outing against the Tampa Bay Rays, he got to them double-digit strikeouts again, and it's going to be one of the more favorable parks that you find Robbie Ray pitching in. 13 strikeouts against Tampa on the 15th, and he is a guy that gives you double-digit strikeouts more than he doesn't in his last 6 games of work. So Robbie Ray will likely project as the highest ceiling pitcher on the slate. Super positive park, and he's going against a lineup that's about half and half. Yandy Diaz, Nelson Cruz, Manuel Margot, Francisco Mejia all have sub 20% K rates against lefties since the beginning of last year. But on the other side of that, it's a lot of 1 and 4s, and because of Robbie Ray's stuff, right, a 33% carry to both sides of the plate, you can stretch those 18% carry rates into 20 pluses. So good spot for Robbie Ray at this price. I feel like 10.2K is not breaking the bank here. Gives you a soft landing, even if he does get you to like just 20. When you look at some of the other options at the pitcher spot on today's slate, you feel like if he gets to 20 plus, he's still likely got a shot of being in the optimal lineup, because there's a lot of variance below him. So unless you think he completely falls through, gets blasted here, in that case maybe have some of those hedge Ray stacks. Gotta believe Robbie Ray is going to be amongst the highest owned on DraftKings because of the talent. So far this season on the road, a 181 home run per 9. So if that comes to play, that could be a problem. A 144 home run per 9 against righties. Nelson Cruz could get to him. Cruz with a 1. OPS against lefties since the beginning of last year. 4.23 rating on the bomb detector. Jordan Luplow, if he makes contact, has a good shot at sending one over the wall. I think you would have not hated to see a Mike Zunino in the lineup, just to swing the bat, and just in case you hit, you might get one over the wall. But based on this lineup alone, I think I do like Robbie Ray's chances to survive here. And, if he gives up a couple runs, he gives up a couple runs. 3.8 run total for the Rays, 4.3 for the Blue Jays. I think the Blue Jays offense is something that's worth discussing here. Shane Baz, I don't have much on him in the spreadsheet for now. So I'm going to maybe pull up his minor league numbers, and then also maybe see if I'm missing if he has like a different name or something, because I've got literally no information on him in my data pool yet. So he hasn't pitched at all. Says Baz's contract was selected as expected on Monday ahead of his major league debut against the Blue Jays. Baz was originally in the mix debut Friday, blah, blah, blah. All right, so we got to figure out who this Baz guy is. And if him making his debut against the very hungry Toronto Blue Jays would bode well. Well, in the minors, he's 5-4, 2.06 ERA, 17 games started, 78.2 innings pitched, 113 Ks with a 0.8 whip. All that is really, really good. Makes you wonder about those 4 losses. He must be on like a really bad offense. 15 innings against lefties, 173 average with 21 strikeouts, just 1 walk. 17 innings against righties, a 203 average allowed, 28 strikeouts, 1 walk. 1 homer to lefties, 1 homer to righties. Those are incredible numbers, like ridiculous numbers. What level are we talking for those numbers? Uh, Looks like a little double A, a little triple A. In triple A, 46 innings, 64 strikeouts, 174 average. This guy's good. Yeah. He's priced above, a couple of the aforementioned guys, the Ranger Suarez, the AJ Alexis, and a couple more guys on this slate. So, man, I don't know that I would get to playing Baz. They probably don't ask him to go too deep. You get 3-4 innings, and then you bridge the bullpen together. But absolutely, I want to check this dude out, see him in action, because his minor league stuff is looking dirty, and it's another reason to be scared of the Rays in the postseason, right? But if we go off of his pedigree, his minor league numbers, there's nothing to suggest he's bad. Yes, the transition to the majors is often bumpy, but the Rays have ability to cut this game in half, right? The first sign of trouble, Cash can go to the bullpen, and the Rays don't, they don't have a high sense of urgency to win anyway, so they could just ask him to eat some innings. With that said, looking at those numbers, looking at Tropicana, knowing that the Rays bullpen can do what it can do, do we want to invest these prices into the Blue Jays? 5.4K, 5.9, 5.3. There's a couple expensive bats here at the top four of this Blue Jays lineup. But I do think I feel like I don't want to make too much of the price points because there are several cheap pitchers to kind of make it work, but it doesn't feel like it's an incredible spot to pay off these price points. Like when you get to this level, like you have to get to the double digits in DKP to return likely a solid day, right? So I guess I'll leave that one up to you guys. Do we want to pick on a minor league pitcher? Sure, we'll go for it, but for the most part, I think that the Vegas totals, the park factors and this Rays bullpen, it makes me believe I can kind of stay away from this game being a shootout. I'll let some of the talented Blue Jays guys get into the lineup. I'll have some Blue Jays stacks and 100 plus. But if I was running, single entry, 3 entry max, even 20 entry, I wonder how much exposure to the Blue Jays I would get. They're definitely one of the offenses with the most upside on the slate, just built in. So I don't want to completely sour on them. Again, just 3 losses on the month, but this Baz kid looks like he's pretty doggone good, right? Let me get caught up on chat here. Sorry for taking you guys on a trip there. I didn't have no information on Baz. Lorenzo said this would be the perfect time to be contrarian in the Rays stack. So yeah, sometimes I'll be contrarian just to be contrarian when ownerships on a pitcher get ridiculous. I don't have a pulse on ownership yet. I tend to do my research first before I look at it. But if Robbie Ray hit that 50% threshold, no matter who the pitcher is, I tend to have head stacks of the other team just in case all hell broke loose, right? Like yesterday, Garrett Cole, extremely high ownership. I also, and it doesn't always work. The slate before, the Saturday slate, which I made a good chunk of money on, and I had a whole bunch of Max Scherzer. I had 80%. DeFil had 69%. I still had some red stacks in the back end of my CSV just in case he fell through in a positive park. So the sentiment being stack against Robbie Ray because he'll be so high owned. I don't hate that, but that's something I feel a little bit better about doing when I have 150 lineups and I can throw away the back end and whatever happens. And 20 lineups, I probably don't take that approach unless I truly believe in it. But I also believe that the Rays have some guys that can get to lefties at a good clip. Nelson Cruz, Arozarena, Jordan Luplow leading the charge for that. So I don't hate the thought process there. Do you suggest stacking Segura, McCutchen, and Harper in tournaments? Yeah, I'm fine with that. Absolutely fine with that. Tall says, I hope Kirk is going to be low owned. Boz is a top prospect. Yeah, he is. Huge carry, massive stuff. Taking the dumbest stacks today, trying something different. Josh, that's not a bad idea. I think you'll find that some of the sharpest cats in baseball DFS not necessarily go against the obvious, but go against the ownership because of the variance in baseball being what it is, the failure rate being 70%. My boy Greg, right? If a stack is like 20%, like you don't see him getting too happy to do that. So he leans on some of those lower percentage stacks, and kind of stays away from the egregious ownership So like I don't think that's a bad approach, but that's something that's easier said than done, especially if you're running 100, 150 lineups, right? If I'm running single entries and 5-entry max, stuff like that, I don't think that is as EV long term, but I do think it is absolutely a viable strategy. And for mass entry today, like on a slate like this, I love the 6-7 games to script on because I feel like I can hit a little bit more bases and offset a little bit more of the variance, right? Those 15 game slates like Friday nights where you got 30 teams and I'm only trying to get exposure to like maybe 8 teams, like that's when I start getting smacked. But I do like these medium slates, so I don't know. I'm talking in a circle. Love Manuel Marco. All right. Okay, John says, I think it's just a low-scoring game, good plays, but money can be spent somewhere else for higher outcome. Philly lineup just came out. I'll take everyone, please, for 400. Let's go, baby. Let's move on to the next game here. Brewers hosting the Cardinals. Cardinals, as we mentioned earlier, changed pitchers on us, going from Woodford to John Lester. Tommy Edman, Paul Goldschmidt, Tyler O'Neill, Nolan Arenado, Yadi Molina, Dylan Carlson, Edmundo Sosa, Harrison Bader. It's time. It's Bader time. Guys, did you guys experience that Yu Darvish Cardinals game? Holy cow, man. I believe that was on Saturday, too. I was anti-Darvish on the road. Cardinals at homer. And then Phil Cuzzy, the home plate umpire, is like, watch this. And he opened up that strike zone the size of the District of Columbia. Like, it was bad. It was egregious. And one of my highest owned players, Tyler O'Neill, got squeezed twice with 2 of the worst calls you'll see. Luckily, he still hit a homer that game because the power of the bomb detector just can't be beat. Not by Phil Cuzzy. But I digress. Today, Freddie Peralta on the bump for the Brewers. John Lester for the Cardinals. Peralta did see the Cardinals a couple starts back, and it didn't go great. But the same can be said about really every Brewers starter during that rotation. He went just 2 innings there, 53 pitches, and got beat up on 4 earnings, 3 hits allowed, a couple walks. The next couple of games here, 3.2 innings, 6 innings against Detroit. What I would be worried about with Freddie Peralta, especially if you saw his ownership get to a high level, is his pitch count. I think the Brewers, there's a couple teams, the Brewers, the White Sox, the Rays to an extent, even though they don't really have true tried and true starters that they got to protect. But there's some teams right now with just a couple weeks left in the regular season that need to protect their starters, so they're watching their innings, they're watching their pitch counts, getting them into the playoffs. And Freddie Peralta, I believe, is one of those guys to watch out for. So I'm not expecting super deep numbers on the pitch count. I'd probably put 80, 85 on a great range of outcome. And if he only went 5, 6 innings, you ask yourself, is that enough against the Cardinals? And the fact that his numbers against the Cardinals so far this season are not great, parlayed with the fact that I worry about his longevity in this game, might be enough for me to spook away from Peralta if his ownership projection got to an uncomfortable rate. 11 innings against the Cardinals and 3 starts this season. You do the math on that one. 9 hits allowed, 7 earnings, a 109 whip, a 5.73 ERA, and less than 10 fantasy points per game. So hasn't had a great stretch against the Cardinals this year. And when you look at the Cardinals, they come out pretty righty heavy. He's got a 40% strikeout rate against righties. Like, he should dominate here, right? But I don't know, man. They've kind of had his number. With that said, if you want to go with the math and not the narrative, that's 100% okay, right? We trust the robot, and the process says, hey, Peralta strikes out righties 40%. There's only 2 true lefties in this lineup, or plus the pitcher. You do you, boo-boo. I'm not going to talk you off of Freddie Peralta, but I do feel like I have enough to push back. If his ownership was too high, I'd just stay on the other side. John Lester. Well, I cannot quit you. John Lester and Madison Bumgarner have got to be the 2 most frustrating pitchers in baseball for people like me that like to pick on the metrics and like to pick on the numbers. A 14% K rate, a 296 average allowed to righties, a 1.8 homer per night. We're going to put him in a hitter-friendly environment, Miller Park. That's going to make me like some of these righties. Eduardo Escobar, Avi Garcia is going to look nice. I don't know if Lorenzo Cain will be in the lineup, but there's a couple, Willie Adames. There's going to be a couple guys in this Brewers lineup that I'm going to want to tack on against Lester. And more than likely, Lester's going to troll me tonight and not get beat up here. However, it does feel like it's a surprise start for Lester. Sometimes that'll mess with a pitcher psyche. So I'm in on the Brewers. Their run total's at 4.7 right now on a 7-game slate. There's really not a reason for me to have some exposure to them against Lester. So I'll be there on that. Hopefully we get that Brewers lineup pretty soon. But yeah, what do you guys know about Peralta? I definitely want to not be the reason you guys do or do not play Peralta, right? If you've already done your research and you like Peralta to get right here, you like him to have that fake Darvish game, numbers say he should carve up a righty-heavy team. But I just have a couple reservations about that. Like, I'm not running to stack the Cardinals, and maybe that's where I should take action on my doubt. But I don't know. You guys get into a lot of Peralta. I'm very, very curious to see where the field lands. Had to go through either as we watched the game. The game in real life was horrible as far as the strikes. Oh, the Darvish, man? Oh, man. What's even worse is, I don't know how this thread came across my timeline, but there was like some lineup seller victory lapping Darvish as an easy play, blah, blah, blah. He's just like dopes like that, man. Oh, blood boiling, right? Peralta's at 30% on DK, higher than Ray. Yeah, so I mean, if he finished as a higher ownership than Robbie Ray, it might burn me, but I'd probably be more likely to get to the Ray side. And I guess I kind of understand it. People have respect for the Rays, and I don't know what the Cardinals got to do to get people to respect them. I feel like they've been perfectly serviceable lately as an offense, and now we put them in a positive offensive park. Just out of curiosity, let's go last 30 days on all teams and check out where the Cardinals lie in WRC plus. Now, this isn't necessarily against righties or lefties. Just curious. Is it under advanced? It is under advanced. So last 30 days, WRC plus, St. Louis is 9th. So top 10 team in WRC plus in the last 30 days. So it's not like they've been bad. 23% K rate. Yeah, you can still get away with pitching against them here and there. 255 average. That's not, insane. A 299 BABIP right where it should be. 196 ISO, whatever. 770 OPS. So it is what it is. But they have been above average. So it's not like, I don't know. I would definitely be more on the Ray train than the Peralta train, just based on some of the concerns that I have. But Peralta should dominate. Just out of curiosity, though, in the K factory, if I give him those 80 pitches, and that's my biggest worry here is the pitch count. If I give him 80 pitches, it gives me 7 strikeouts. I know Robbie Ray gets 100 pitches. I know the Blue Jays need to win. So I know I might let the narrative play me here, but that's where I'm at. Hopefully Luis Urias is in the lineup. Yeah, that lineup's not out yet, but yeah, that would be nice to see. I think they might be waiting on Lorenzo Cain. He made a big catch the other night, and then got pulled afterwards. I don't know if he's lingering from that. I see Q tags on Avi Garcia, on Willie Adames, so could be a banged up Brewers team, and you might get a Sunday special lineup. No Lester, right? We're not pitching Lester. Not with Ranger Suarez there. Maybe not with Alexis there. Maybe not with Shane Baz there. I don't know. I just don't feel like I'm getting any fantasy relevance from Lester or fantasy upside from Lester, so I'm not really going to end up there. Let's move on to the next game. Angels hosting the Astros. Where are we at on time? 3:20. All right. Framber Valdez taking on Yami Barria. Valdez 9,500 on DraftKings, 9,300 on Fanduel. Yami Barria 5,600. I got no interest in Yami. I do got interest in the Astros. You guys have been with me on this Astros slot machine, man. It is one of the most frustrating things on the season. If I think back to the MLB DFS 2021 season, and I'm like, oh, I remember those Astros, man. I would stack them for a week straight and maybe get one good game out of them. I'm there against Berea. Berea, 288 average allowed, a lot of hard contact allowed, some extreme power allowed to lefties. Would be a huge spot for Yordan Alvarez. So yeah, I definitely will be on some Astros here. Backing up Berea's an average to bad Angels bullpen. And on a 7-game slate, Astros will rise to one of my more sought-after stacks. On the Angels side against Framber Valdez, the strikeout numbers to righties has plummeted from 24% last year to 20.7% this year. He does strike out lefties at a solid clip. Brandon Morris, Shohei Ohtani, Jared Walsh all could be in this lineup. And then the other guys in this lineup might spot you a strikeout here and there. At 9,500, I still think in the 9K range, I'm on the Robbie Ray train. But I wouldn't talk you off with some Valdez for sure. Valdez on the road this season, 0.77 home run per 9, less than a 20% K rate. But could he eat us 6 to 7 innings? That would be a great thing. 5, 6, 7 innings. A couple of outside of that most recent Angel start where he got 6 strikeouts anyway, 4 earnings, 2 bombs. He has been showing a little bit of length, 6+ innings in a lot of starts. Only 2 of his last 10 starts went less than 6 innings. So a little bit more relevant information for like Fanduel. If you're trying to diversify that pitching pool to not be overweight, I don't even say overweight, but not to be all in on like a Robbie Ray or a Freddie Peralta. Yeah, get to a little bit of Valdez, but probably not somebody I would prioritize in 20 or less. Maybe I had to get to 50 to open him up. No Berea at all. Not even if there's a fire. Not doing it. No sir, Bob Moran. Berea, how long do we expect Berea to last? Is he just going to get one turn through the lineup? 4, 7, 4, 3. He's been 80 to 90 pitches, so I guess logistically he's a fully stretched out starter. Hasn't pitched in 8 days. So I don't know. We just assume that he's going to pitch as long as he can. 9% K rate to lefties this season with a 16% K rate to righties. The power hasn't been massive to righties, but the hard contact's there. The fly ball rate and the line drive rate combines for 58%. So I'm fine with expecting some regression on this 109 home run per 9, even though we didn't see it that as a big problem last year. Give me the Astros for sure. Don't have a confirmed lineup yet for the Astros, and I don't know if Baker will have one out by main slate locks, a 9:38 game. But a lot of green in this lineup, and a lot of red in this Berea makeup, right? Let's get caught up on the live chat. Hopefully, okay. For your eyes, yeah, I'm with that. We got 2 games left on the docket. Guys, anybody on PrizePicks today? I had a couple of picks prepared for football tonight. And then I haven't really perused the lobby for baseball, but if you guys haven't checked out PrizePicks yet, it's my way to get some prop bets in without having access to our sports book out here in the great state of Texas. If you guys are looking to do some of that too, I definitely think prop betting is something you should supplement your DFS research with. It definitely pays off in a more palpable way. Sure, later on in the day and later on in the week for NFL, the lines get a little bit harder, but prop bets have been generally regarded as something that's still a little bit soft, and you guys are doing the research on matchups and usage and all that stuff. Sure, for baseball it's a little bit more variable, but for football and for basketball I think you'll have some fun with it too. So if you haven't tried PrizePicks, hey, go sign up. Use code GUNDACKER when you do. That'll show me some love. That'll let them know I sent you, and then they'll send me a little something, and it's just all good, right? Tonight on NFL, a couple picks I was looking at. I sent my old lady the picks that I was digging. I was liking DeAndre Swift over 4.5 receptions. So if we're looking at the NFL area receptions, I like DeAndre over 4.5. Packers allowed the 4th most receptions to running backs last year. In Week 1, DeAndre Swift caught 8 of 11 targets, ran around on 65% of Jared Goff dropbacks, positive passing game script, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I had a whole thing prepared. You might still see it today, but I like DeAndre Swift over 4.5 receptions, Jared Goff over 23.5 pass completions, Aaron Jones over 7.5 rushing yards. And then if we're looking at the baseball side of things, now that we've processed a few pitchers, I don't like the prices in terms of strikeouts for these pitchers. Maybe Alexis at 4 strikeouts is probably a little low. Yankees do strike out, and he does have some strikeout stuff. Robbie Ray 8.5. Like, I don't want to get to that level. They don't have any Shane Bass stuff. Whenever I'm uncomfortable with the strikeout props for PrizePicks, and I still want to get some action, I'll go look at the fantasy score. If you guys play on Fanduel, they mimic the Fanduel scoring, so guys that get some length, 6 innings, get that quality start, maybe a shot to win. Alexis at 19 is an intriguing number. Robbie Ray at 40 is also an intriguing number. I wouldn't hate the under on Berea 18. And that's a few of the ones that stand out for me. So, J-Ro, man, I appreciate that subscription on YouTube. Shout out to you. Hope you are doing great today. We are at, I don't know the number. I want to say it's 5,340 or 5,400. We're close to 5,400. So I appreciate you guys showing some love. I have a strong goal to get to 6K subs by January 1. Right? That's 3 months. 2 months. 3 months. But I do believe when the NBA gets here daily, the channel will start growing a little bit more rapidly, right? Let's get caught up here. I want to play Nelson Cruz, but 6.1K pricing is beyond awful. Yeah, I think that's where you got to let pricing just separate and just play the plays, right? I think there's some slates where pricing is really tight and you just can't get stuff to fit. I don't really feel that way tonight. I guess if you wanted to go Robbie Ray for Eddie Peralta, your limitations would be real. But for me, I think I go Robbie Ray, like a 6K pitcher, like a Ranger Suarez, somebody like that. And when I do that, it opens up, 4K per. I punt 2 spots. Usually you can find one cheap outfielder, a cheap catcher, something like that. Then you go for the gold. So, sometimes the thought of pricing in baseball can be a nuisance because it's really not a value-driven sport. Outside of the pitcher spot, where you can kind of quantify an expectation in terms of fantasy points, but when you got 2K guys like Jose Siri hitting double dungs, 5K guys hitting, a couple singles and a stolen base, like, it's really just who gets the most points. So I wouldn't overthink it, price points and let that be the tiebreaker. Not for hitters, at least. Pitchers, sure. Anyway, kickstart. You'll have 10K by then. 10K. I don't know, man. My channel's been stuck at 5K for a hot minute. I actually got banned over the course of a summer, man. There was a time where YouTube was not vibing with the DFS and betting side of things, and they actually suspended my channel. I got strikes. It was all bad. They froze my accounts. Like, it was tough. So I've kind of muscled my way back into the algorithm, and I've also been a little bit more committed to content, right? Some of that stuff was really discouraging. I've been back in the full grind now and got a little setup. So, man, hopefully, but I don't know. I've been around for a minute, and the channel has been kind of stagnant at 5K. But we'll see. We'll see. Braves at the D-backs, man. Let's move on. We only got 2 games left. I'm trying to get out of here within 15 minutes so you guys can catch the Osmo show. Oscar Inoa taking on Humberto Mejia. So, big news about this game. I don't want to overblow it, but I did see that the roof would be open in Chase Field, and that is something that can sometimes negate the effects of the humidor and make Chase Field into a hitter's park. There was a time when Chase Field was just as juicy as a Coors Field in terms of run production, and now you're going to give me one of my favorite offenses in the Atlanta Braves taking on Humberto Mejia with the roof open. It is over 90 degrees and 93. Yeah, it's a dry heat gun, but it's still a heat, and I do think that it's nothing but a positive for the Braves. No, don't get it twisted. I'd be on the Braves if the roof was closed, but the roof being open just makes me like them that much more. They might be my favorite stack on the entire slate. They are my favorite stack on the entire slate. They have a 5.6 implied run total. Mejia has not been particularly well against righties, a 1.8 homer per 9 to righties. 13% K rate. He's been more effective in small sample to lefties, but there's no sample behind that to really trust. Only 11 innings of sample size this season. if he doesn't go deep, guess what? It gets into this Diamondbacks bullpen, which is one of the worst in all of baseball. So the Braves should be in for a really positive 9 innings of baseball. I loved it. They're the road team as well. And I expect them to put up a barrage of runs. And the pricing on the Braves, I don't know if it was the trip to Oracle, but the pricing on the Braves just seemed disrespectful, right? 4.8 for Ozzy Albies, 3.7 for Jorge Soler, 5.2 Freeman. Like Freeman being the only 5K bat here, I'm in on it. And I don't know if you guys missed the Eddie Rosario game yesterday, but it was a good one. I think he hit for the cycle, and he's 2,500. He might be the highest owned player on the slate if enough people realize that. 30 fantasy points yesterday, 4 hits, one of everything. Here's your hit menu, Mr. Rosario. I'll have one of everything, and he got it. So I don't mind him aggressively in my lineups, but the Braves are my favorite stack. Enoa 9,100 on DraftKings, that 9K area. I still try to get to Robbie Ray no matter what. Enoa does have some strikeout ability. I do think his style of play can play. A 3.22 xFIP to lefties, 3.37 xFIP to righties, a 1 in 4 plus K rate to both sides of the plate. Elevated ground ball rate, especially to righties. I think with this projected D-backs lineup, we isolate our attention on lefties a little bit more. Against lefties, a 40.5% ground ball rate, a 0.52 home run per 9, a low walk rate. I think he's in play for sure. Definitely would rather get to Robbie Ray if I can help it, but I'm not going to shrug off some Enoa exposure in my pools. Last couple games for him, Colorado, 18 DKP, did not get eligible for the win by not going 5 innings. 5 innings against Washington, 18 at Coors. We can write that one off. The Giants, number 1 team in baseball, just 11. Did his thing against the Yankees. So I'm in on some Enoa, right? I'm still higher on Ray. I think you can make a strong. I think in my personal exposures, would have a strong debate between Peralta and Enoa, because I do have some pushback on Peralta, but Enoa is just fine. But he'll also deal with the elements of Chase Field. One of the things about Chase Field that it's not just the heat that I'm behind. I believe it's the second stadium in terms of elevation. So it just makes the air a little bit thinner, and it just makes it a little bit more offensive happy. So with that said, like the D-backs offense might be a sleeper stack in deep field tournaments based on what they do roll out. Lineup wise, Ketel Marte, he can make my lineup on any given day. I like his $3,500 price tag on Fanduel. It's a really cheap stack. Outside of him, the entire team is under 3K on Fanduel. And then on DraftKings, they're pretty easy to get to as well. Cole Calhoun, under 3K, he's got a little pop to his bat. So yeah, I'm in on the game, but I'm more inclined to have exposure to Noah than D-backs if I had to make a decision. But the luxury of Mass Century, I'll have a little bit of both sides. But Braves easily my favorite stack, right? See what you guys got in the chat before we move on to the next one. Dave says, do you suggest playing chalky players or lower owned players in GPP tournaments? So I believe that's going to be subjective to how big the field is in those tournaments, right? Generally speaking, in large tournaments where you got to beat 50, 60, 80K entries, you want to not have a high-owned lineup, right? It's okay to have a couple of bats that might be chalky, but you want to separate yourself from the field. And more than likely, in baseball at least, first place is going to have a lot of sub 20%ers, sub 15%ers, depending on how big the slate is. Tonight might be a little bit more condensed because it's half a slate versus some of the more bigger slates we've seen lately. But if you're in like single entry contests with like 500 entries with the field, I wouldn't really overthink chalk. Maybe you focus on the pitcher ownerships, but play the plays that you like in those type of fields. So I would say the answer to that question is contingent on how many entries are in it. The bigger the field, the less ownership I want in my lineup versus the field, right? The more leverage I want. And then the smaller the field, I can really 2v2, 3v2 chalky players into pivots and feel all right. What up, Stanley? R. Stanley, you doing all right? Let's go Atlanta. I'm with it. Let's go. Are you looking to get overweight or underweight on Atlanta? I know they're high owned. I don't know what their ownership is. They're my favorite stack on the slate for sure, easily. I usually high owned in baseball is 20%. So if they got over 20%, I'd be a little bit more timid. But even 20% in the context of a 7-game slate is fine. I'd reflect at least that in my lineup. So if they were less than 20%, like 15% or whatever, I'd want to be overweight. And 20%, 20 out of 100, I don't need to be egregiously overweight. I can still get different at pitcher. So I'm hoping Freddie Peralta is my out, right? If I see Peralta as the highest owned pitcher on the slate, and I got enough reservations to go on Robbie Ray or something like that, maybe I'll just let that. Because then in that scenario, a lot of Brave stacks will overlap with Peralta ownership, and if Peralta gives you 9 in 4 innings or something like that, I can beat those Braves lineups with my pitchers. But a full disclosure, I have not looked at ownerships yet. So afterwards, you guys can go check out the Awesemo stream, and they will talk about ownerships and leverage and all that good stuff. So yeah, but I'm going to be very aggressive on the Braves. Albie's batting from the left side. Yup. Love the Braves wraparound. Yes, sir. Like the Braves too, but I think I need to get different with bats because I'm going with the chalk SPs. Yeah, I mean, if you get yourself like a crazy sub stack, like I think the D-backs would be I don't want to say crazy, but a low-owned sub stack. I think the D-backs would be low-owned. Don't really know who else would be a low-owned sub stack, but I'll try and get a pulse on that afterwards. We got one game left on the docket. So let's get it knocked out. The Mariners and the Athletics. Maybe we get a substack from this one. Tyler, the Andersons got tickets to the game. How'd they get tickets? Taking on Sean Chupapi Manaya. What a weird time for these two pitchers to line up. I usually don't have bits for baseball players, but I got bits for these guys. 3.5 is your implied run total for the Mariners. 4.6 for the Athletics, so not a ton of expected offense in this one. 73 degrees out there in Oakland Coliseum. 20% K rate to righties. Does Tyler Anderson have a 4.59 xFIP, 172 home run per 9 allowed? You could definitely look at some of these Athletics to dip into those numbers. Josh Harrison, Starling Marte, Mark Canha, Matt Chapman, all guys that would pique my curiosity. Chatty Pendergrass, if he makes the lineup, 2,600 on him. Another real cheap guy. Maybe he can help you get those double barrel ace lineups at the top end. Chris Davis, right? He's not striking out. If a 20% K rate from Tyler Anderson do you some favors there, maybe Chris Davis gets into one. He's 200 above min price on FanDuel. On the other side here, Sean Manaea has had a couple of big tournament winning games this season, and I think one or two of them have come against the Seattle Mariners, so maybe we look at a curtain call finish there. He's averaging 40 fantasy points in 2 games against Seattle. Last game against Seattle was on July 22nd. He got 39.6, so he's essentially dropped 40 in 2 games. And there's a couple games here where he's giving you 7 innings of length. And at home, he is ironically averaging less fantasy points than on the road, but I'm not going to overthink that split here. Really good spot for him to maybe run back a 40 bomb and maybe get a little bit more slept on. I'm fine with going his way. The Mariners lineup projects to be a little bit more righties than lefties. He strikes out lefties at an incredibly high clip. Almost a 24% K rate to righties overall, 3.9 xFIP, with a 32% hard contact rate. So Manaea is easily in the pool. Maybe on FanDuel he's got a little bit more value as a quality start guy, and maybe on PrizePicks we let that play as well. His fantasy projection on PrizePicks is 35.5. So if he's getting 40 on DK, he's probably getting 50 on FanDuel. So I don't know if you want to get into that, sure. Matchup-wise, anyone against him project well in the bomb detector. Tom Murphy, he's always going to project well against a lefty. Not always going to be in the lineup, so we'll look for that lineup to be confirmed. But yeah, Murphy would be in the mix for me. Not a lot of cheap catchers that are piquing my curiosity early on. Yeah, this game just kind of exists. You can give me some of Manaea. I won't have any Anderson, and because of that, I feel like I would have more Athletics here, but these price points aren't, super comfortable for for the most part, so the opto just might like not get there enough for me. But I guess I would have a couple consolidated A stacks. Mariners still on the outside looking in on that wild card spot. So are the Athletics. So both teams would like to win. I think the Athletics have a little bit more expectation, right? I think they are behind the Yankees right now for that wild card spot. And there's a real range of outcomes where the Athletics and the Yankees might end up into a game 163. So watch out for that. So important baseball here for the A's. Mariners are a little bit more lost, but I think the A's could get into it. So look for the A's to play inspired baseball. And yeah, that is your slate. Chat, if you guys got any lasting questions, comments, concerns, throw them in chat here. Did we miss any lineups that came out while I was blabbering? I'll try and scoop those up here. But if you guys got anything else, drop it in chat. Otherwise, you guys can get in touch with me on Twitter, twitter.com/Gundacker. Looks like we had that lineup. The Cardinals lineup was the same. We didn't get any other lineup, so we'll be sitting on that. 3 of the games tonight are West Coast games, so we might have an annoying spot where we don't have lineups in time. Maybe people get lost in late swap as they're watching the football game. So I don't know. Maybe there's a little edge there, but hopefully we'll get all these lineups before main slate locks. Yeah, twitter.com/Gundacker. My DMs are open. Like I said, we did do a showdown video for tonight's NFL slate. If you go check out that video, in the pinned comment, there's a coupon code to get 20% off any membership at rundfs.com. When you get into a membership, click VIP portal. There'll be a link to the NFL spreadsheet. I have projections for tonight. Link to the MLB spreadsheet where we have the bomb detector, the index portal, all this good stuff, and a link to the rundfs.com VIP Discord. And that, like I said, is where a lot of the value is. Guys are putting up big numbers every day in every sport, and we hope that we can make you guys into better players. And if not, maybe you bring a little value, a little expertise in an area that some of us want to learn about, right? National lineups just dropped. I don't think that's on this slate. I think that's the early slated game. So if you guys are playing that one, hope you guys crush it. All I ask of you is if you enjoyed your time, man, hit that thumbs up for me, man. It doesn't cost you a penny. Maybe double check, make sure you are subscribed. That goal, that push for 6K subscribers is on. It's official. I didn't put it out there, but now we're speaking it into existence. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll shoot for that hopefully by January 1. But who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky and we'll go viral sooner, right? That's it for me. Like I said, the Osmo channel usually does their MLB stream right about now. So go check them out. They'll have all the ownership projections, all that good stuff to put some context to some of the plays that we're on and give you some more of the leverage viability. So I'm Audi 5000, man. I appreciate you guys making part of my day, be part of your day. I will be back at it tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, with another live stream breaking down tomorrow's slate. And hopefully we'll have a lot of winners from tonight, either sport. There's $1 million to first, NFL. You guys hit me up on Twitter with those screenshots. I'll see you then, man. I appreciate you guys. I truly do. I love you guys. Good luck. God bless. And go win some money.